Welcome back to another episode in the van build series. If you're new here, my name's Hunter. I'm an outdoor creator currently building out this 2023 Ford Transit, and I'm super stoked because in this video, we're finally working on the electrical and getting this awesome roof rack installed. So sit back and enjoy the video. Today's a big day. We're going to be working on the electrical. Right now, I'm going to be working on getting the box all in. I already got all the wires pre-ran. I went ahead and put them down here. This is where the electrical is going to be, and I ran the wires all the way through here, up in here. You wrap them around, coming on the side right there, and just coming to the kitchen. And I think that's all the wiring I need there. If not, I can just connect them and just add more to it. We have quite a bit of outlets in this area because that's where the desk is going to be. I need it for charging the computer and Starlink and everything else. So I have all the cables going there, and I got to figure out if I need to add more or if I want to add more. So the pre-running wires are still a little bit of a work in progress, but I think I have it all situated. But right now I'm going to be cutting out the box, get the proper height to where it's going to be, because it's also going to act as like the base for the bed build. So I'm going to be working on that. And I made some templates yesterday with that cardboard right down there for the wheel well. When I put the box in and have it all situated, I just want to have something that's going to be stable and look good. So, but let's go ahead and start on this box. Don't know if I'm going to finish it today. I don't think I will, but we're going to be getting a good start on it. So let's go ahead and do that. Got this all set to go. I'm going to be working on the components I'm going to be putting in with it to just get those installed, have them drilled into the board itself, and then I'll be able to screw the actual board into the van itself. So let's do that first, plan everything out, and figure out where all those parts are going to be going. Alright, so here's the general idea. I got some more parts coming. The inverter is inside the house. I'm waiting for the batteries, waiting for the fuses to get here. I have a fuse going there, fuse there, over there as well. Got the chargers, the distributor, breaker box right there. Inverter is going to be going right here, this area, and then I got my shunt right there. So all in all, it's coming together nicely. I just need to cut out some holes for it so I can run the wires through them. And then also build a little home for the breaker box itself to sit onto and get the wires through there. Gonna be doing that box next for the breaker box, make a little spot for it. And then I think that'll be it for today before I screw this thing on and get the wires ran through. So I got pretty far on the box today. I have a little bit more to go with it for the actual box itself, but for the most part, I need to add the components to it, the fuses and whatnot, cut the holes out for the wires to go through it, finish up the breaker box itself to where that's going to sit, and then once I get the solar panels here and the batteries, I could hook all that up and get this box installed in the van officially and test the power, see if it works, and if it does work, then we'll have power in the van. But for now, I'm going to set this project to the side and work on this later on after everything else comes in the mail. Alright, so big update since the last time I was working on the van. I got the box mostly done. There's one thing I'm not really a big fan of, but it might work. I mean, it will work. I might add a big piece of wood, something super thin like a 1/4 inch plywood to it, just so that way I could have it nice and clean looking. But let me show you how it's coming along so far. So this is what I'm talking about. I don't like how it's one extra piece like this because the batteries that came in, which are right there, are a little bit too wide, so I had to make it an extra 5 inches on this side, but that's totally fine by me. Like I said, I could just get a piece of plywood to go on the side here and make it look fine. I cut out a couple holes here for ventilation. As you see, I'm going to be putting some of these little crates. Let me pull them out real fast. Found an old vent cover and I cut them up to have these little crates I'm going to be putting in these holes for the ventilation in the van. So that way I actually have something that looks kind of clean but also usable and functional. And I don't want it to get too hot, even though this section is going to be open. I don't want to get too hot on the side, so that's why I have these 2 holes there. Then I went ahead and wired everything into the breaker box section, so that way when I get to it, it's already all there. It's all set to go. And then for my AC unit, that cable is going all the way through here, through the back right here and down here, into this little hole right here. This is for the solar cables to go into the solar breaker right here, but I decided to do both because I made it big enough to fit that and the solar cables to come through there. Now after I get the solar in, I think it's all set to go for all the holes I have to put into the roof. And then once I get to building the closet that I want to build, I think it's gonna be super cool, but that'll be towards the end of the whole build. All the gear for the roof rack came in, so we're gonna be installing some of it today, and then tomorrow put the solar panels on, so that way I can figure out where I'm gonna put the crossbars and everything like that. But they're in these boxes. They're in these boxes right here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing installed on here and get myself a roof rack for the van. Alright, so from the video I watched for this roof rack, it's pretty straightforward. Take these out, put these screws in with the brackets, and I think it's just that simple. So let's go ahead, get these parts cut out and get this thing installed. Just gotta dig your way in. One out, many more to go. By the way, this roof rack I'm installing is by White Top Adventures. I found them to be the cheapest on the market, but also have good quality. So that's why I went with them. Otherwise it would spend around like $2,000 instead of the $1,200 I spent on something different. But this roof rack seemed like the best bang for my buck, so I went with that. I didn't want to spend too much on a roof rack, but also I wanted something that's durable. This was a good in-between product that I found, and the reviews are pretty good too. So I was like, why not try it, give it a chance, and see how it does for the van. Step one, done. Got the roof rack installed, so that means tomorrow in the morning I'm going to be getting the solar panel set up, get all that installed, and start wiring the van. Thank you. Alright, got the solar panel all up. I have it covered right now, so that way when I plug it in, I'm not going to get any type of power going through. So that way it doesn't short the charger, as well as just making sure there's no power going through whatsoever with everything else as well. Now I gotta install this cover and get that all set up, so that way I can hardwire all these into the van and actually start wiring the thing. Let's say about, I think right here would be a great spot for all the wiring to go through. Alright, so what I'm adding is butyl tape. It's just to help it so that way it doesn't leak and nothing gets in, but I'm also going to add some sealant around it so that way we know for sure nothing's going to get in. So I messed up. This part, these little two knobs right here, are the waterproof section, and I needed that to be attached when I first put it through. So I had to cut off, I think it fell actually, but the ends, I had to cut off the ends to make them go through. But it's okay because I don't even need those ends for this, for what I'm doing. It works out well. Broke on me. It's the next day. I went ahead and let the sealant dry. I'm going to go up there and clean it up a little bit, but today we're actually going to be starting to wire, which I'm excited about, so that way we could actually start getting the build together. So these are the wires coming down from up top. I'm going to wire those through the frames, get it all situated, and get it installed into the solar charger. So clean up everything up top real fast and then get everything else all situated. I'm just cleaning the top of this plastic because I don't think it's going to be necessary to do it anywhere else. Doesn't seem like it is. So yeah, just doing the top of it real fast, and then I think we're set. Now it's time to figure out how to get these cables into the solar charger by going through all of this. Should be pretty easy, but I'm going to take my time with it and just figure it out and make it happen. I got all the wires in. I got a zip tie right here. I need to trim this up a little bit, but it should work. I can always maneuver it, change it around if I need to. And then I got it coming through here, through a hole up here, down to right here. I put electrical tape around it so that way it has less of a chance of cutting. And I made it a bit padded too, so that way it's harder for it to get cut through. And then just got it coming down, and then I'm gonna probably staple the cables to the edge right here so that way they stay there and don't move. Because I'm going to be putting trim here and a little trim right here as well. So have it like that. Come through right here at this spot where I have solar cables, and it's also my AC cable. Got both of those coming through this hole. I need to trim these two cables, put it into the disconnect right here, and then finish it off to put it into the solar charger. And then I think we're set. But first I'm going to work on the batteries, get those 4-aught cables all crimped up, ready to go, and just get all that situated. And then I think from there we can start actually wiring this whole thing together and get power into the van. It's now 3 o'clock, and I was trying to be somewhat close to halfway done by now and finish it throughout the day, but this 4-aught wire is such a pain. I finally just got the lug on. I had to go buy different lugs because I had galvanized lugs that came with the batteries and it feels solid enough to put it in there, and I want copper ones for the batteries themselves anyways because I feel like it's a better connection. I may be wrong, but I feel like copper is a way better connection anyways. So I went and bought some, and this went on way better. They were frayed a little bit, so I had to kind of trim the wires, get it on there, and then whatever else was fraying, use little small pliers to push them back into it and get a full connection in there. So now it's all good. I'm going to heat shrink it, and I think we should be all set. Then I can finally start doing the other side and do the rest of the cables, and then move on to the inside. I've been making a lot of trips back and forth between Ace, Napa, all these other stores to get lugs, heat sinks, and everything that I need. But I've been able to get all the lugs on the wires right now and finish off the heat sinks on all of them for at least the 4-aught wires. And I'm working on the ground right now, so doing all that stuff, it's been kind of a pain because I've been going back and forth with work stuff, working on this, and just trying to get this going. I was hoping to get all the electrical done and start pretty much get close to paneling by today or tomorrow. That was like my goal, and I'm a little behind on it. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's just I had to wait for stuff to get in, go to different stores because some stores are out of what I needed. I was able to get some stuff. For now, gonna go ahead, get the heat sink on, and get the ground all situated. So that way we have ground and we can start fully wiring, putting the batteries in, and having those fully locked in place. Got the ground in. Awkward to put it in, but I got it in. Now it's time to wire this into one of the holes over there and secure the box. Now that that's all attached, it's time to add some ferrules to these ends on the 10 gauge wires, and also work on the 4 gauge and the 6 gauge wires to put all through the system. Phew, look at that, first one done. Alright, so we got everything situated, all the cables that are going to be going from the solar charger, DC charger, into the links are finished. I got the cable from the links going to this fuse for the breaker box all finished. Everything is heat sinked, all crimped on. Took a little bit, but I saved you guys the boring part of the crimping and everything. It took a little bit, but it was just pretty easy. It was just time consuming. That's all it was. Nothing too crazy. So I just sat here for about like 20-30 minutes, I think maybe even longer, getting all that stuff situated. And now I am working on getting this installed. This is the 4 gauge line that is going to be going from the DC charger to this fuse. This is a 60 amp fuse I'm using, into the battery, which is underneath the seat. But luckily with Fords, they have a whole positive bus load right here, so that way I could just go from that spot into the fuse itself and then into that cable. So that way it just goes easy. I don't have to take the seat off. It saves me a lot of time. Now I'm gonna go ahead, get that all together, try to find the best spot for that fuse and install it. One down, got to make a new cable from the little box right here to the fuse, and then it's all set to go. I got, where's that cable? I just had it. I got the cable, it's super tiny, and it's going from this spot right here into this spot right there, and that is where I'm going to be pulling the power from. Thankfully, Ford Transits have these. I think it's 2021 to present year. I'm not exactly too sure when this type of thing started, but I think it's 2021 models. But since I'm in 2023, it has it. And this actually makes it a great place to end the video. So if you guys did like today's video, be sure to drop a like. Also subscribe if you're new here so you don't miss out on a single episode of the series and just future videos for that matter. So with all that said and done, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.